There is so much information out there about ascension and root races and Nephilium and fallen angels and dimensions and grid work and light workers and star seeds, and there's just so much. Well, I've been, reading in like the Emerald Order teachings lately. I found this Ascension Glossary. It's ascensionglossary.com. That's where you can go to that. It's called the Energetic Synthesis family of websites, and it includes the Ascension Glossary, and I guess a lady named Lisa Renee wrote the Ascension Glossary. Let me just read this right here to you. What I'm going to be doing is just reading and discussing this Ascension Glossary, or things in this Ascension Glossary. It says, the Energetic Synthesis family of websites, including the Ascension Glossary, as Lisa Renee's service to humanity, and refers to the protection under the right to freedom of expression with regards to the internet and information technology, as well as digital rights to that technology. So basically it says that I can read it and share it and use it for information commons. This site is represented as an information commons and exists as an open source educational reference, such as a physical library or online community, which exists to produce, conserve, and preserve information for current and future generations of humanity. Thus, we have decided to share our work as open source under Creative Commons. The information presented in the Ascension Glossary reflects the Guardian perspective of the Ascension timeline, 2012 timelines and beyond, and is intended as support both energetically and educationally for the galactic families of humanity. This spiritual family has accepted the guardianship role to support the foundation of cosmic citizenship through the cultivation of unity consciousness as an evolutionary model for liberating this planet and humanity. And this is Earth-based advocacy designed for this specific group. There is absolutely no value difference given on the role each being has chosen for its expression. The Guardian Group's mission directive is the rehabilitation of the hologram, repairing its energetic architecture, or DNA, embodying the ascended human protoform, and supplying informational context on ascension dynamics and exopolitics, ET agendas, and re-educating both humans and non-humans to be congruently aligned to universal law of one. Freedom, fraternity, and the sovereign right of all beings to be a knower of God's source is protected by the collective unity vow shared among our universal guardian groups. The law of one comprises the necessary principles of behavior, practices, and belief systems that humanity is required to learn in order to achieve spiritual freedom and personal sovereignty. By committing to re-educate themselves to expand consciousness into higher frequency realities that allow them to progress into the future GSF timelines during the ascension cycle. And see, this is why we're going to go through these terms so we'll know what they mean. But this site right here has the Ascension Glossary, the Energetic Synthesis, and another site called Crystal Aegis, Aegis, and it's like a crystal star guardian spiritual support system. The site was looking awesome. They have foundations. I'm going to go over and read the. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read this Crystal Aegis site. It is an entirely free website with many meditations and exercises. This spiritual support system is intended for those with a commitment to discipline the mind to clear negative ego and darkness from the basic methods that increase mental and emotional self-control such as the ES Core Triad Daily Practices and the Crystal Aegis book, is a 90-day intercession 5-step process to request crystal star guardian spiritual support intended to protect the soul, body, and directly evict any possessing like attachments or entities. I added that part. It just says possession or related attachments that create addiction or mind control problems that invite dark forces into one's life. And the ES Foundation is the membership site for energetic synthesis. If you'd like to continue your journey after having used the free online learning tools, you may choose to become an ES Foundation member. At this time, our community is accepting new memberships by invitation only. Current members may recommend a new member for approval. Wow. ES Foundations include many tools and a community forum, those attuned to the mission statement and community purpose, which is organized around the practices of the Law of One. Continue learning about the body of work by becoming members. Membership supports the free tools, content, web expenses, and the Ascension-related videos. Membership within the ES community is intended and designed to support an awakening and ascending community through the gathering, sharing of experiences, and having the spiritual awakening tools with proper empowering context, vast amounts of meditation clearings, and the core reinforcement principle of self sovereignty, whereby one learns to discern energies and entities that are here in mass on planet Earth today. The core principles of ES community are founded and based upon the Law of One and relationship mastery guidelines. Building and maintaining the website materials and community is a huge project, and it is our hope it serves more awakening humans to empower themselves through being re-educated to build their own self-focused inner healing connections. And then it says a little bit about Lisa Renee. We'll go ahead and read this because I think you should know, as much as possible. Lisa Renee experienced a spontaneous Kundalini event many years ago that catalyzed a starseed awakening to perceive multi-dimensional realities and communication with the evolutionary forces of light, serving the Law of One. Lisa Renee has been personally contacted and then prepared, trained, and downloaded by interdimensional beings, extraterrestrial and ultra-terrestrial, not from this universe, known as the Crystal Star and Aurora Guardians. Guided by guardians, Lisa was biologically upgraded to be downloaded to comprehend the science of ascension through the Law of One and its dynamics upon the layers of energy fields. This understanding of consciousness technologies was experienced by her own personal evolution and began her transition into a multidimensional guide and God Sovereign Free, GSF, see there's the GSF, God Sovereign Free, steward during this planet's ascension cycle. She is an emissary for the guardian groups and a spokesperson for the shift of humanity to ascension. Along with the guardian groups, her mission is to support humanity through its evolution with education, awareness, and by discussing the impacts of the energy shifts upon the planet, human beings, and human consciousness. She is an ascension guide, planet grid worker, starseed advocate, humanitarian, writer, and educator for disclosure and world humanism. Please note that Lisa Renee does not use or endorse any social media channels, and hence any post with content from this Ascension Glossary, Energetic Synthesis, or any of the sites listed above are not reposted or endorsed by Lisa Marie. There is an official Energetic Synthesis YouTube channel. Through this channel is mostly outdated as all new videos are now handled privately through ES servers. You can use this work as Creative Commons. You can use our public material, which we have designated as Creative Commons with attribution and share alike. That means you're free to use any of it as long as you say where it's coming from, whether the Ascension Glossary or the Energetic Synthesis site, and you don't copyright the material when it's used with your other work. You can take something from the Ascension Glossary and expand on it, and that's what we're going to do. which is called a derivative work, and even charge for it. We're not going to charge for anything. As for example, when you charge for a class and use the material in a class of yours. However, you must identify that you are using our material. The portions of the class or media where you use our material cannot be copyrighted and must be shared under Creative Commons. Please note this applies to freely shared materials and does not apply to the private website materials or those that are sold in our shop. If you share freely what is in the shop, that undermines our efforts and may prevent us from sharing as much information publicly as we currently do. Also, note that YouTube and other platforms' terms of services may not be congruent with the Creative Commons licenses. If you use an image, you must put a caption with the proper credit. If you use it in a video, you must mention the attribution and license somewhere in the credits. The point of us doing all this is so we can share as much material as possible freely while at the same time protecting it as much as we can from being misrepresented or distorted. That makes a lot of sense. That's why the attribution is crucial. Well, you should always cite somebody else's work. Being clear about the source of the material will help with transparency and avoid anything from festering in the confusion, and therefore better protecting you and them. Lisa, Renee, and Thomas. This is the Guardian mission statement. The information presented in the Ascension Glossary reflects the Guardian perspective of the Ascension timeline, 2012 timelines and beyond, intended as support both energetically and educationally for the galactic families of humanity. The spiritual family has accepted the guardianship role to support the foundation of cosmic citizenship through unity consciousness as an evolutionary model for this planet and humanity. And this is earth-based advocacy designed for this specific group. There is absolutely no value difference given on the role each being has chosen for its expression. The Guardian Group's mission directive is rehabilitation of the hologram, repairing its energetic architecture, DNA, embodying the ascended human protoform, supplying informational context on ascension dynamics and exopolitic ET agendas, and re-educating both human and non-humans to be congruently aligned to the universal law of one. Freedom, fraternity, and the sovereign right of all beings to be a knower of God's source is protected by the collective unity vow shared among our universal guardian groups. These are the Guardian Guidelines. All content is intended with the empowerment of the individual first, as based on the law of one practices, and are offered for your personal discernment only. Take in only what resonates and discard the rest. Intentionally fortify personal Christos with your 12D shield. Send all etheric visitors and debris to the transit gate or the shadow vortex. Stretch, yawn, exhale, move your body if you need to. Clearings and shifts may occur. Stay hydrated, sipping water. Take care of yourself. Watch for analysis paralysis. Stay mentally relaxed. Observe with a heart presence in the now moment. Be open, willing, acceptive, and expansive. Assess trustworthiness and ethical conduct. Another freedom of information disclaimer they have. We believe in supporting freedom of information to be made available to the public to become informed, educated, and aware of the current shifts impacting our planet in order to make informed decisions through the free access to this ascension material based upon the law of one principles. This body of ascension material is designed to support the higher development of personal and planetary consciousness to progress an evolutionary model of human rights, benevolence, and compassion towards all of humanity as a value system of world humanism. Where did this information come from? 1999, ongoing contact began with various interdimensional intelligences to reverse engineer and source timeline damage and repair. May 2001, completed Sirius B walk-in, began training with Guardian Host as a grid worker. Next one. Embody Law of One, God's Sovereign Free Ascension Timeline, Founders Ascension Holographic Plates, and observed mind control programs in the NAA, or Negative Alien Agenda. embody sovereign ascension timeline for planet through recoding planetary brain into trinitized geometry, Trinity wave formats for 0 point access. The next one, years of direct fieldwork and sessions to identify histories of inorganic biowave alien machinery, alien implants, phantom matrices, and support the reassembly of source origin codes of the Creator, discerning inorganic versus organic instruction sets. And all those things we're going to go over, not necessarily in this video, but eventually. Aurora Guardian architect work with re-encryption of elementals. This is the omniversal family tree of crystal star, cosmic Christos or Christ. Interdimensional free worlds, Christic advisory teams build organic, God sovereign free Hyros Gamos DNA architectural code for Earth, genetically synthesized gender twin matrices for multiple planetary inhabitants and universal systems. Assessing trustworthiness. Dear Ascension community, it has been clear that the spiritual and consciousness communities are extremely challenged with confusion derived from the variety of unchecked and uncleared negative ego behaviors when spiritual people are speaking in New Age terms and concepts. These negative ego behaviors are usually entwined with low ethical conduct which damages building trust between people in order to communicate transparently and honestly about a variety of topics. This is not a subject that can be addressed lightly and requires deep, reflective thought, as well as a commitment to hold accountability to circumstances and the God sovereign free behaviors that each of us choose to demonstrate every day. Trust is everything. Without comprehending the necessity of building trust and consistent trustworthy behaviors, the entire foundation of Ascension community structure will crumble, and those of the group that contribute a great amount of time and energy to help create this spiritual community will cease to do so. It is important to understand the divide and conquer agenda that operates in unconscious ways that will attack the spiritual groups, spiritual communities, or will compromise relationships that are building trust as a direct strategy of destroying any kind of group cohesion or organization. This is why I spend a lot of time discussing components of trust and building trust, and how to recognize behaviors and communications that allow the trust and the attribute of trustworthiness to be modeled and cultivated within spiritual ascension and related communities, to emphasize our personal responsibility in those interactions. And she signed it, Lisa Renee, God Sovereign Free Steward. Also known as spiritual awakening, is a simultaneous increase of expanding consciousness that occurs when our spiritual, energetic bodies connect into our physical bodies. Generally, the catalyst for spiritual awakening is discovered through the process of progressive Kundalini activation that starts in the base of our spine and moves the intelligent energies up the spine and into the crown. As a human being undergoes the awakening process, which can progress gradually over many years, that person shifts into perceptions of higher consciousness, which can include increased awareness of energy in the environment, perceiving multi-dimensional realities, sensing extra-dimensional entities, and feeling a direct communion with God and the interconnected energy that exists between lines. Within the creational mechanics of the holographic structure which manifests the harmonic universes, there are two timelines per dimensional octave. So within our harmonic universe, making up the reality of 3D Earth, within the three dimensions, 1 to 3, we have 6 timelines. When we energetically evolve and move up in octave, being initiated into higher frequencies, we are exposed to more dimensional octaves, therefore more potential timelines. Within these dimensions of future timelines are stations of identity, commonly called the soul, the oversoul, and the higher self, which comprise body parts or whole spiritual bodies of our forgotten selves. These are spiritual energetic bodies that hold our consciousness, intelligence matrices, our mind matrices that make up our spiritual identity, and of which we are designed to reclaim these spiritual energetic pieces during these timeline collapses which transpire during the ascension cycle. This is why those on the spiritual ascension path continually experience their energetic healing by meeting the cellular memories that surface at different stages of evolution in the multiple timelines. Being able to tune into these various timelines and sense events or identities that exist in those timelines is one definition of becoming multidimensional. The cosmic trinity of the three universal founder rays, blue ray mother arc, magenta ray father arc, and golden ray son of Christos. There are three original primal order sound fields that make up the ray aspects of our entire universal creation in the universal time matrix. These founder Trinity flames embody as the guardian host to protect the rights of spiritual liberation for all living beings to evolve as God's sovereign free. The three universal founder rays are the universal Trinity and are comprised of the blue ray mother arc, violet magenta ray father arc, and the golden ray son of Christos. The universal Trinity is the first light of the one blue flame in the 13th dimension, the second light of the one gold flame in the 14th dimension, and the third light of the one violet flame in the 15th dimension. Together they make the Trinity that makes up the threefold founder flame of our entire universal time matrix. There are three original primal order sound fields that make up the ray aspects of our entire universal creation in the universal time matrix. Universal time matrix is a time matrix. It's a map of all the timelines in which the consciousness moves that are simultaneously taking place within the entire time matrix. It is the mathematical program by which consciousness experiences time and matter. The cosmic structure contains six 15-dimensional universal time matrices for the purpose of consciousness individualization into dimensionalization in order to experience the perception of time, and to which are collectively referred to as the time matrix. The universal time cosmology of 12 dimensions of simultaneous time-space cycles within a 15-dimensional wave spectrum. Each harmonic universe is equal to a triad of spiritual identity that our consciousness evolves through as our personality. 1, 2, and 3D, that's the personality. Then the soul is 4, 5, and 6. The oversoul, or the monad, is 7, 8, and 9D. Avatar Christos, 10, 11, and 12. And Founder Consciousness, 13, 14, and 15. So that's going to do it for the introductions in this first video. Stay tuned. We'll come back tomorrow where we will talk about the Christos mission and Yeshua as a guardian, and as several other things. We'll also maybe get into some of the root races and things like that. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button. Leave a comment. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.